Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Racist, disgusting Britain. A country where every minute we're hearing about Putin's latest exploits. Last night, for example, he bombed a theatre where people were sheltering, over 1,000 people in it. But still, we don't hear anything about the apartheid that is going on in Palestine. And they don't tell us anything about the bombings in Yemen. Yemen looks exactly like how the Ukraine looks, but they've been doing it for over 8 years, and nothing said about it. Right? This world is an absolute racist, disgusting joke. And also, welcome back to By Enemies Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. And I'll say to myself, welcome back. Because I've been off for like 11 or 12 days or something like that, right? I haven't really done a video for, right? Because I haven't really been feeling that well. Do you know what I mean? I caught a little bug. Do you know what I mean? I think probably just like a little flu type thing. Do you know what I mean? So I would, there was one day where I was in bed with a cold sweat, right? But I'll be straight with you, yeah. This whole war, right, is just really just showing up the level of racism, right, that we have in this world. I mean, it really is. It's just under some of the most disgusting levels of racism that you've ever seen, that I've ever seen. It's just, it's a horrible, horrible time, and for me, it's really difficult, right, to be speaking about this stuff because this stuff is just like, it's really, for me, it's just really horrible, right, and it just shows you the level of ignorance of people, right, that we have around the world, right. Especially, I mean, the West is just like, the West is just absolutely shocking, right, for this, for Black and Asian people, right, the West is just like it's just a nasty place to live. It really is. It's just horrible because, if you we're looking at what's happening in Ukraine, and look what the world is saying about that. The world has come out, right? The world is out there, right? You've got thousands of people flying from all over different countries to get into Poland to go and help these people. What about the fucking people of Yemen? They've been going through this for nigh on 8 years, right? They're being starved. Not only they're being bombed, they're also being starved to death. Right, this has been going on in Ukraine for like a couple of weeks, right? And it's non-stop on the TV everywhere. It's non-stop. It's everywhere. It's non-stop. Right? You can move over to Palestine. The Palestinians have been going through this for nearly 80 years, right? And there's no media about it. Nothing about it at all. Right? It's just like when the world is looking at Black and brown people being murdered, the world just looks away. Oh no, don't worry about it. It's over there. It's not our concern. Even when we send our terrorist, murderous troops into these countries to go and murder these people, we just look away with, oh no, oh Iraq, oh. Right, Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, so we think it's okay to go and murder, 10 times the amount of people that he would have killed. The whole shit doesn't make any sense when you're looking at what's actually happening, right? And now, right, you have the British government. I mean, you had, I don't know, I can't remember what minister it was, but I was watching one of them, right, speaking about how now they want to go and start doing oil deals again with like Saudi Arabia, right? Even though, right, Britain have been committing war crimes, right, upon the people of Yemen, right? Because Britain are supplying the weapons. Anybody who's supplying those weapons, you are also committing those war crimes on those people. So even when Britain is telling Putin, oh, you're committing war crimes, they're doing the same thing. Britain and America, they're doing the same thing. They're committing war crimes themselves. Right? They're allowing people to be massacred, right? In their millions, right? Because they don't care about the brown skin or the black people. They don't care. They're not interested. Right? You start murdering white people in Europe, right? And look, right? You can't get you can't find a channel where this is not where it's not where they're not talking about Ukraine. You can't find a channel that they're not talking about this shit, right? Yemen, right, and Palestine have been going through this, right? Yemen for 8 years, Palestine for nearly 80 years. They've been going through this. Right? And they brand those people, they brand the Palestinians as terrorists. I was having a discussion with some fool yesterday, right, who said to me, oh, well, the Palestinians, they're terrorists. I said, what are you talking about? He said, they're run by terrorists. I said, no, they're run by freedom fighters, people who are fighting for their freedom. You see, that's the message, and they've got that message out to people, because if I've got people that are saying that to me on the street, I'm like, well, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Completely. I said to him, do you know what the Iron Dome is? He didn't even know what the Iron Dome was. But yet, for all, he can brand the Palestinians as terrorists. But you don't know what the Iron Dome is. If you don't know what the Iron Dome is, right, then you know what you should do? You should shut your fucking mouth and not speak about it at all, because you don't know what you're speaking about. Right? Because if you knew what the Iron Dome was, right, then you'd know that, you know what, yeah, if Palestine fires 99, 100 rockets, right, 99 of them will be definitely taken down by the Iron Dome, and it's just maybe that 100th one might get through, right? And then when you're talking about a house in Israel, they're all bomb-proof. Right? All these houses in Israel, they're all bomb-proof. Right? So when they're telling you about all these rockets and all these things to the Palestinians, right, it's not a problem for Israel. Israel is one of the most protected countries in the world. Right? You couldn't fire missiles into Israel. They just get taken out by the Iron Dome. Right? But these people, they like to tell you, oh yeah, you're firing the rockets. Yeah, rockets. Rockets don't mean anything. They're like fireworks. That's all they are. It's like fireworks. For them, right? Find out how much people, right, have been killed by the rockets in the last 5 years. Find out how much people, because I guarantee it's nothing. Right? The ratio of murder, right, that the Israelis are killing the Palestinians is what, 150 to 1. Right? And they will tell you, oh, the Palestinians, they're the violent ones, while you're killing them in their thousands. But they're the violent ones. It doesn't make any sense. Right, you look at Yemen. Right, we've been supplying weapons, right, to Saudi Arabia all this time, supplying weapons, right, committing war atrocities in Yemen, and no one's speaking about it. It's not all over the media. It's not all over the media. You haven't got babies. You can't see the pictures of the babies, right, that have got arms and legs, right, that are no thicker than a pencil. They're not showing you all these things. They're not showing you all this. They're showing you some old ladies in Ukraine. Oh, they're showing you that every minute. That can't come off the telly. But do you know what? They don't want, they don't want, black and brown people being murdered. I don't know about that. Right? And it's insulting, right, that these people, right, every day, right, they look at our lives as less. Right. And you can't tell me that it's not. You can't tell me it's not. It's not all of yous. It's got to be. There can't just be a few. It's got to be all of yous. Right. You're looking at us as less, because if you wasn't, right, you would insist that this shit was on the media every day. You'd say, well, hold on a minute. What's going on in Yemen? You'd say, hold on. Why Palestine? Why have these people been allowed to do this in Palestine all this time? Right. If you go into the actual war zone itself. Right, on the Polish border, right, you've got a lot of black and Asian people who study, right, and work in Ukraine. Right, they're all being lined up in a separate line at the border. Black and Asians, you go in that line. All the white people, you go over there. You go through. So why aren't all these white people saying, well, hold on a minute, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? If it's not all of yous, why aren't all these white people saying, well, hold on. What's going on here? Why are you separating those people from us? Why are they not saying that? Right? They've got, these motherfuckers have got their white motherfucking brethren, firing bombs and firing bullets at them, cluster bombs, right, vacuum bombs, right, surface to fucking air missiles, right, firing at them, right, they're bombing them from fucking with MiGs, but they're taking time out to be fucking racist. How the fuck you taking time out to be racist, right, when you've got some white motherfuckers trying to fucking kill you, right? But you can take time out to be racist to the black and Asian people that are there, right? You see why I find it very difficult looking at this stuff and having to speak about all this type of shit, because this is some real hardcore, disgusting racism. What I'm seeing. Right? The whole of Europe is showing how racist it really is by saying, you know what, those people, right, are much more important than those people. I mean, I was listening to Andrew Pierce on the telly yesterday, right, talking about, because Boris Johnson's in Saudi Arabia right now, prostrating himself, right, to the Saudis, right, asking about, we need your oil. Don't worry about how you fucking chop up fucking journalists. Don't worry about that. Right? Don't worry about the fucking 81 people who you beheaded on the weekend. Don't worry about that. Don't worry, right, about the fact that you've been bombing the fuck out of the Yemen for the past 8 years. It's all mine now. Because you know what? Boris Johnson had to weigh up the odds. He has to say, well, he has to do this out of 10. He has to say, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll weigh up the odds out of 10. So, we've got little black and brown children being murdered over there in Yemen, right, or in Palestine, right? So we've got to give them a very high score, 8 points. We've got some little Caucasian children being murdered in the Ukraine. It's got to be a 10-pointer, isn't it? So we can't help them, even though you wasn't helping them anyway. But we can't help them. We've got to focus all our energy over there on the white people. Right, now, as I said, right, you see why this shit is really, really difficult, right? Because people look at me and say, well, you're racist for pointing at the fucking obvious, because that's all I'm doing. I'm just pointing out the absolute obvious, what is obvious to what should be obvious to every single right-minded thinking person in this world, right? Facts are facts. Right, those lives, right, those Caucasian lives, right, are worth more than those lives, right, those lives in Yemen and those lives in Palestine, right, and and the Uyghurs, right. You can go all round, and you can look for atrocities being committed all over the place, right. But Britain has decided, actually, no, right. Rather than just carry on getting our fuel from Russia, no, because they're murdering white people. So now we've got to make a choice of where we get that from. So we can either buy it from Russia, who are murdering white people, or we can buy it from Saudi Arabia, who are murdering black and brown people. It didn't take them long to weigh up the odds, did it? It didn't take them long to decide, well, you know something, we're going straight to Saudi Arabia, because you know what? Nobody cares about them them black and brown people. Who the fuck cares about them? It's going to be easier to get that past Parliament. That's how these guys are looking at it. That's what it is. It's easier to get it through Parliament. Because who cares about them people? Nobody does. Nobody cares about them. Right? Because if they did, right, all of this focus, right, would have been on them from 8 years ago. From 8 years ago, the focus would have been on them. Right? But now, right, Britain has got to go and prostrate itself, right, to countries, right, who, one country who they've been calling terrorists all these years, Iran. Now they've got to go to Iran and prostrate themselves. Right? They've had to put their tail between their legs, right, and go and pay back the $400 million that they owed the Iranians, right, from the 1970s. Right? And I say, well, hasn't Liz Truss done a fantastic job? And you know what, Liz, right? I should give her full title, right, which is pencil neck, Tin Lizzie, right? And a pat on the back for this. Fuck off. Right? How you gonna, these people say, oh, Liz Truss, she went and she negotiated. What's there to negotiate? Just give me back my money. I mean, there's not really much to negotiate. Just give them my money back. So Britain ended up having to pay them, like, I think it's about 532 million, or just over half a billion. They've had to end up paying them. Because they had to, they would have had to pay them all the time anyway, right? They've had, like, Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe. There's another racist thing I can just throw into you right here. They've had Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, right, locked up, right, for the past 6 years, right, when they could have paid them back that money and saved that woman all that time. They could have, because that's why the Iranians took her, right? And they said to her husband, well, you know what, yeah, you just need to just hold it down, not say anything. Do you know what I mean? Because if you start speaking out, then what's going to happen is you might never see her again. But they're forgetting that he's white, right? He's not Asian. Right? Asian man, keep his ass shut, keep his mouth closed, shut up. Listen, he has to listen to what the government tell him. Not Richard Ratcliffe. Richard Ratcliffe's like, come on, man, I'm a fucking white man. You can't tell me, right, to keep my mouth closed when these motherfuckers have kidnapped my fucking wife because of you. So I'm going to make up as much noise as I can. Look, she flew back with another guy in it, Anushin, right? Anushin, right? She flew back with another guy, Anushin. He's been in captivity with the Iranians for how long? How much did you know about that story? Because his family had to keep their mouth closed. They're Asian. Keep their mouth closed. Because the British public would be like, who cares? They're outside the Foreign Office doing starving themselves, right? Who cares? The British public would be like, let them fucking die. But not Richard Ratcliffe. Richard Ratcliffe, he's got all sorts of MPs coming up there, do you know what I mean? And all this, you know what I mean? After the British government has said to him, keep your mouth closed. But it's like, I'm not fucking black or Asian, pal. You can't tell me that shit, right? If I want to tell people, right, that my wife has been fucking kidnapped, right, then I'm going to tell the world, right? But he could do that because he's a white man. That's why he can do that, because he knows. Do you know what I mean? That's what the difference is. You see, as I said, yeah, this right is a really spectacularly, right, disgusting time, right, to be living in the West. Just to look and see all the live racism. Just, you got Liz Truss, yeah. Liz Truss is there. Is it just me, yeah, or is Liz Truss modelling herself off of Rod Stewart? Because every time I see Liz Truss, I just want to say, oh Maggie, I should not. That's all. Every time I see that fool, do you know what I mean? It's just amazing how stupid these people take the British public for. I know the British public are stupid, thick racists, but that's another story. But it's just amazing how stupid they take the British public for, because this woman wants praise for paying these people back. I mean, it's like a bailiff coming to your house and like you think to yourself, well, okay, I'm going to negotiate with the bailiff. See what I can. I'm going to say, well, you know what? I'm going to go out there and say, well, what I'm going to do is, you want the money right now? I haven't got it right now. But what I'm going to do, we're negotiating. I'm going to drive down to the bank. I'm going to get the money out for you. I'm going to come back and give it to you. And then, like, you expect your partner to, like, be standing at the door with flowers and a cup of tea and your slippers waiting for you because you've done so well. Where your partner will just think to yourself, you're a fucking idiot, right? You shouldn't have let things get to that state in the first place, right? You should have paid the fucking bill a long time ago rather than having bailiffs come to the motherfucking door. Right? This is what these people want credit for. They want credit, right? Because she's paid some money back, some money that was owed. And they say, well, oh, she's done so well. She's fantastic, isn't she? Say, is she? What for paying someone their money back? Really? Because I could have wrapped it up in a couple of minutes with the Iranians. Just a few minutes it would have taken me. Right? But what they're saying is, oh well, Liz Truss, she's done a deal to so that they have to ring fence the money, and it can only be spent on humanitarian stuff and thing. And the Iranians are like, yeah, we'll only spend it on humanitarian stuff. Okay, well done, yes, okay. Seriously? How are you going to look at a country and say, well, you took that money, you spent it on guns? Once it's gone into the Iranians' bank, you can look at them and say, well, we can say to them, well, you can't spend $500 million on any weapons. If we see you doing that, then we're not going to know it's that money. They say, well, because the Iranians could say, well, no, that's other money. That's come out of our savings. I mean, just the level of stupidity that they take the British public for. Well, as I said, the British public, most of them are stupid racists anyway, so that's why they can take them for these fools. Right? But the level of stupidity is just unbelievable. It's just it's second to none. And we've got another story, of a black girl, 14 or 15 years old, or 13, 14 or 15, something like that, right? But she strip searched in her school by the police because one of the teachers said, well, we can smell cannabis, and they said, oh, really? So they strip searched her while she's on her period. I mean, you think, wow, this is the level of racism, because that wouldn't happen to a little white child. That wouldn't happen to a little white child. The little white child would have got searched by the teachers. The teachers would have said, well, we're just keeping this internal, right? But no, for the black child, they've called the police in. Police have to come in and strip search the child. So, wow, how the hell does that work? But it can work. When you live in a damn racist society, it can work. And, I don't know if you've heard of the Festival of Brexit. It's apparently £120 million flop. I don't know much about it, but I know whatever it is, right, it sounds like it's really, really stupid. Right? How the hell can you have a festival of Brexit? What the fuck what the hell is any good that Brexit has brought to this country? Right? The only good that's happened with Brexit, is it's been taken off of the front pages by the war. By the wrong war. Right? Because the war they should be talking about, right, is what's going on in Palestine, right, or what's going on in Yemen. That's what they should really be talking about. But Brexit's been taken off the front pages by that. Anyway, guys, look, I've gone well over my time, all 7 minutes over my time. It's really good to be back. It's really good to be speaking to you guys again. And it was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.